Magicians love sandwich tricks. Honestly, it's gotten to the point where it definitely is a sexual feeling that magicians get after finding a selected card between two other fucking selected cards. So today is going to be no different. I'm going to show you guys another variation on this plot using this deck of cards. It could really be any deck. But what is a sandwich trick without the cards that are going to be doing the sandwiching for us? It's a regular trick. So for this, we're going to need the two cards, of course, which are going to be the jokers. Whoa, where did they come from? Yeah, well, anyways, we're not going to use these jokers right off the bat. So for now, we're just going to put them aside after cleanly displaying both of them. We are going to have a card selected. So in this case, we're going to use the 5 of diamonds. This card gets shuffled and lost into the deck. But wait, f***ing shit. We make a magical move. And look what happens. We actually get a card between the jokers. You ask the spectators if it would be amazing if this was their selected card. Of course it would be. So you turn the card over and show them that it says look under the box. Fuck that card. I'm not going to listen to that card. There's no way there's a card under the box. The box has been there the entire time. But you reach for the box with your little fingers and fuck, there's a playing card right underneath. You don't think that that's their card, right? Of course not. There's no way that could be their card. And it's not their card. It's not. It's another card with a fucking message on it. This one says look on the jokers. But we just looked at that card. You don't think that this is turned? No, it hasn't. It has not turned into the card. It says look under the box again. So this actually directs the spectator to their card, which is now under the box, and they get satisfied after another fucking sandwich trick. So for this, it's pretty simple. All you're gonna need are 2 jokers and 2 cards with messages on them. One says look on the jokers, the other one says look under the box. Again, now it's important that for this one, there's actually a space for look under the box. So if you notice that there is a reasonable amount of distance between the word the box and the word again. The reason for the space is that when you discover the card, the joker is going to be hiding that word, so you don't have to switch the card for another one with a different message, and makes the trick way easier to do than the way I had it before. So for this, the setup is going to be pretty simple. We're going to need this card that says look under the box again, and it's going to be very important that the message is orientated. I said it right the first time. These long fucking words. So for this, we're going to need the card to be facing the correct direction so that when you do turn the card over and hide it between the jokers, they're not seeing the wrong part of the message. So the way we ensure this is by holding the card in your right hand and just flipping it over. So this card is going to go on top of the deck. These 2 jokers are going to go face to face, and this card is going to go on top of those 2 jokers. This of course goes inside of the box, and you are ready to start this orgasm inducing trick. To start, it's going to be very important as to the direction of how you open the cards and take them out of the box. If you open them like you usually do, you're going to have to fumble around like a dumb fuck in order to do the loading move. So if you open them up with the flap oriented towards the left, you're going to have the box in the right hand so that when you get a break over this card in the left hand, you could sneak the card under the box a lot easier than if you had opened the box the other way. Another important point is that when you drop the box with the card underneath, that the card doesn't slide and slip everywhere like you are autistic. So make sure that everything is square when you put it down. Now remember, this deck is set up a little bit, so you're going to have both jokers on top. So for this, we're going to need to produce them in whatever way we want. The way I did it was a false shuffle, and then I held the cards in my left hand. With my thumb, I pushed this card up about an inch, or whatever your dick size is, and with the forefinger in the back, the card is just going to flick off of the thumb and land in the right hand. This is pretty much that Paul Harris move, the instant replay, but by out jogging the card, it makes it a lot easier to do. The way I did it in performance is that I accidentally flicked both cards off, but it looks good either way. One more time for our fucking retarded Canadians. Remember, the card flicks off of the thumb. Once you have both jokers, you're going to need to load the card between it. So you get a break on the top card, and you're going to do the classic sandwich move, sandwiching that card between both jokers. This little setup goes on top of the table, making sure not to spread the cards in any fashion. At this point, you spread the deck towards the spectator and they pick any card. In this case, it's going to be the 2 of clubs. This card gets a pinky break and controlled to the top of the deck in any way that you deem reasonable. Then after a magical gesture, you show that there is in fact a card between both jokers. Remember, this is going to be the message card. So it's very important. When you turn this card over, you are turning it end for end so that you could hide that again message underneath. So when you are turning that card over, it's important that you use the joker in your right hand to cover that message, which is going to say look under the box. This of course directs the spectator to look at the box. While they're doing this, you turn this card over and leave this whole setup on the table. This sets you up ahead to be able to reveal the card underneath the box again, so that when you draw attention to it, what you're going to do is you're going to get a pinky break on the top card, so that when you pick the box up with the left hand, you could easily leave this card underneath the box, because they're going to be looking at the card on the table. So this gives you plenty of time to load that card underneath. I also like to put the box as close to them as humanely possible, just as a little bit of a extra kicker when the ending is revealed. So then you could turn this card over, but we're going to show that one more time for our fucking retarded Europeans. So remember, you left this card, you're going to pick over the box with the left hand and load the card underneath the box as all attention is drawn to the card on the table. So then you could read the message and you are pretty much done. It says look on the jokers. This directs back to the message card on top of the jokers that you could then show now says look under the box again, which directs them to the box where they just looked under, where they find another card, which happens to be their card. The most important part of this trick is to make sure that the setup is properly made so that when you actually have this card between the jokers, you don't accidentally turn it over the wrong way and reveal the message prematurely, or you don't cover the again message. So that is pretty much the only way you could f this trick up. So make sure to do that. The original way that I came up with this trick involved a switch for this card, which added a lot more work. So you do a little bit of switch. Let's say that's the other card. You do this weird little sandwich move that I think I've shown in another video to do one switch, but then shit got complicated because then you're dealing with 3 cards and then it's a mess. So that little gap between the messages on the original message card, that little gap saves you a switch. So you're welcome. It's a good trick. Learn it well. Make sure the setup is correct. Make me proud. I'm gonna go jerk off to the Russian genius finally reaching 100K.
See you again when I see you again. 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 When I see you again.